Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Sunday, and we have the weekly close, and the price is not completely falling out of the sky, right? Because every Sunday for the last several Sundays, we've seen price just completely get annihilated. Let's take a look at XRP here. Um, yeah, so maybe because we've already got annihilated to the downside. Um, that could be a reason why we're not completely falling out of the sky on this Sunday, right? Because again, go back every Sunday, except for maybe one or two, and we've had pretty significant dumps, all right? But every dump back down comes back up, comes back down, 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 comes back up, comes back down. What happens next? Do we just crash or do we come back up again? That's the big question, right? So, this to me kind of looks like it's shaping to be 5. It just seems like it wants to be 5, right? If it's not, then we have, let's see, we have 3 waves down, we have 3 waves up, and we have 3 waves back down, right? So this here could be a 3-wave move, but this is not proportional with this, but it makes sense because this was the Trump pump and dump. But regardless, it is 3, right? And then you have 3, 3, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is also 3 right here, right? So if this is a 1 and then a 2, that could be correct, right? And then you have another wave 1 up here, and then another 2. That is a potential idea right there, right? So yesterday we went over the bearish ideas. Today we'll touch on those, but just basically going over pretty much what we're seeing here, right? Which is a very complicated range. At the same time, you have Bitcoin kind of in a different situation, right? You can see Bitcoin here lost the range, right? We were ranging and then we lost it. And then we came up and we retested it as resistance. And then we came down, we set a new low, creating divergence. And then following that, we had 3 waves up. And then we came back down. So what does that mean? To me, either we're getting, because traditionally you'd say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that could be the case, right? Unless this here is a flat and this whole thing is a wave 4, right? So we have 1, 2, 3. This is a flat, a running flat for a wave 4. And now we're coming down for a wave 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then continue up. And it makes sense because you would be able to back test this area over here, right? So I think that's what Bitcoin potentially needs. I just don't think that this could be, I mean, it's likely that it is because you got 5 waves and you got divergence. So people could be front running it. But there's always that thing in the back of my mind, well, we could easily just come and tag it first before making our retrace back to the upside, because I'm expecting, some type of retrace. You always get one, right? Even back when Bitcoin had its major crash, we had a major dump, we had a retrace. And this retrace actually took the top of the market, right? Sometimes you can get a crash, but then you just get a very shallow three-way pullback that comes about halfway of this wave. So those are the different types. Or you can get a blow off top, like back over here. But obviously that's nowhere, we don't have a blow off top. But you could see what happened. We had a crash, we had a retrace. We had two retraces here. And again, that was, you take the whole wave, you cut it in half. Look at that. It went 50% of the wave. So here we are today, right? This doesn't look like a blow off top to me. And it kind of reminds me of this a little bit. You kind of had three drives to the high. Let's take a look here. Let's take a bars pattern. Let's do some things we've never done before. Let's talk about things we haven't talked about yet. So if I take the bars pattern, first of all, it's not a fractal. I'm just looking at the time, the time in which this occurred. And you can see it's actually basically has more time than it needs, right? You can kind of see, let's put it right here, right? You kind of got a little bit of a play, a little bit of a hit, and then another hit, right? Come back down, take the high, and then that's when you come down, right? So if I actually take a bars pattern that's a little bigger, let's start it from here and go there, you can kind of see where we're at now, right? So let's see here. Yeah, so this actually, it was pretty well, I mean, maybe a little bit longer, but it's relatively very close. Trying to see. Okay, so we have these three drives to the high, 1, 2, 3 drives to the high. We pour down, and now we're sort of in this area. So let's look at this area. You can kind of see it's not moving with me. Sometimes these fractals have a delay here, but you can kind of see, I'm trying to get it a little bit closer here. All right. So obviously we were playing around in here for a little while, and then we kind of hit the low, and then we made a double bottom. So is that what's happening kind of over here? I mean, it potentially could be. I just don't really, I'm not sure, like, you know, because look at here, you had three waves up, right? And then you kind of drizzled down, but you were oscillating down. This is just a straight line down. So we need to see, you know, some oscillation in here to get anything remotely the same size. So if I shrink it a little bit, yeah, it still is, it's a little bit iffy, right? So anyways, it's not a fractal. I'm just kind of comparing it based on time, and based on time, it's basically the same exact amount of time, right? So yeah, we should be very close for either a low and then a transition into a retrace, or you develop this range, maybe it's some kind of Wyckoff, and then you get that retrace, right? So that's kind of what I'm thinking. But more than likely, you're probably going to have to come back and tag this area. I mean, it's so close. It just seems like that's kind of what it would need to do, unless, again, people are front running it. But let's go to XRP again. So let's take a look at the small time frames. Let's see what happened over the last 24 hours. Question is this wave finished? right? You got 1, 2, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Could this be 4 and 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or actually, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then that's 6. Rolls back up within wave. Was that 5? Yeah, 1, 2, 3. And then you get wave 7. I'm not convinced that the low is in, because if you notice all of these lows here, they were followed by a wick, right? You could see you have this low here, you got a wick, you came down, you had a strong wick, right? Doji, you have a wick here, and you have a wick here. This looks like there's no wick here on the candle. So if I put it to the 4 hour, right, even here, right, you have a wick. So you're wicking off. Here, there's no wicks. So maybe we have, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we get 5. And then you essentially get that wick, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you wick off, creating something like that. And then go into that retrace, trying to get back to the top of the range, because it's really an ugly looking range now, right? I mean, it looked nice when we had this flat, and then we came up, we had this 3-way move down, and then we came up again. But then after that, this right in here just looks like garbage, right? All of this looks great. This part just, doesn't look as nice. So trying to figure out what this is and where the waves fit in, it's pretty challenging, right? So again, if you have a flat and you have a wave 1, and then you have A, B, C, that's your wave 2. And then you have another wave 1, and then you have A, B, and then like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for wave C, right? So here's your C wave, and let's do A, B, right? A, B. So you can kind of see, the pattern, right? So I color coded it so we can kind of see it. So there you go. So if that's the case, then from there we should get a wave back to the upside. So that would be 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we go for our third wave. So that is the bullish count. The bearish count, you have this impulse to the downside, right? And you have a 3-way move up. So that's your A. And then you have 3 up. That's your B. And then you have 1, 2, 3. Or it could be W, X, Y. And that's your C. So 5. I mean, the real thing is that 5 or is that 3? Some people could say 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you get 5. Or 1, 2, 3, W, 1, 2, 3, X, 1, 2, 3, Y. And then go up. So, but, that's the bullish and bearish count. But the thing is, this could be a bigger move down here, like we talked about yesterday. Between 115, 130, 150. It's probably going to be around the 150 to 170 mark. I don't see us going below 130. So if we did break below, because if you look left, you got a lot of support here above 130. And yeah, that 160 area over here, yeah, that cluster of support. So if I do this and I take a line, I put that line 166, 188, and one more there. Yeah, so those are the areas right in here. So if we do come down to 166, we really want to hold it. You know, we don't want to break below this. So yeah, and to draw it with a polyline, you have 1, and then you have 2, and then you come down for 3. So the length of this wave from here to here, and then I take that length and I put that right there at the top of, no, I have to put it at the top of this wave because that's the start of the wave. That gives me 155. So there you go. If this wave is going to be equal lengths, so here's your A, there's your B, and there's your C. The A and the C should be relatively the same size, or the W and the X, right? So yeah, I think that if we break down, the target is $1.66. If this is finished, like if this is a 1, 2, and then we have another 1, yeah, but see, it can't be a 1, 2, 1, 2. So 1, A, B, C, 2, and then we have a 1, A, B. Yeah, because the B, A, B, C, it broke below the wave 1. So that cannot be the count. So regardless, we're kind of still flagging out in here. We're oscillating to the downside. So if you just ignore this, just get rid of that. That's not even there. And just look at this. That's what we're doing, right? We're flagging out. So if we look at it like that, maybe what we have here, let's do this. Parallel channel, put that right there, and put that down there. There we go. And let's go to 0. There we go. And then we'll take, maybe we have a triple correction here. So we have a W, and then we come up. See, that could be an X, or this could be an X. So if I put the X there, and then I put the Y there, and then I put the X there, and then I put the Z, we could have a triple correction. So I've never shared this count before. This count is definitely applicable because, again, if we just ignore that side and just look at it like this is the wave here that we're trying to deal with. So if that's the case, then you want to see 5 waves off the low. Like there's a guy named Dark Defender, and every time I see his post, I kind of feel bad for him because he's just, you know, every time we have a move up, he'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, every post. I mean, not to knock on the guy, but it's just like, no, man, it can't be that because this is not 5 waves. Here's the post here. So he basically, this is all his post. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's just, I mean, how did you come up with that thesis? I just don't see I mean, anybody could just put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It doesn't mean anything, right? Because the problem is this is 1, 2, 3. You can't have 3. This has to be 5. The first wave has to be 5, not 3. So it can't be a 1, 2, right? So I don't know. See, here's another issue here. That this is only 3 as well. I mean, you could say it's 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not so sure. I do know this is 3 up, this is 3 down. So that seems to be right. That seems to be right. All right, that's enough of that. All right, let's look. I think he puts out great charts, by the way. I think they're cool. I think they're interesting. But yeah. So here's our WXYXZ count. Now, there's another way we can do this, which is W, and then we have 3 waves up for your X, and then we have 3 waves down for Y, and then this is X, and now we're getting Z. And Z could be anywhere right around there, right? So we have 3 down, we have 3 up, and then we have 3 down, and then we have 3 up, and then we're getting, 3 or even, it's got to be 3. So somewhere in here, if you could say, well, we already have 3 right there, but you can get 3, and then maybe you get 3, and then you get 3 down, and that becomes a bigger 3, right? So that's kind of that. I think that could be a good idea, and then we kind of play around here, and then continue higher. Nobody has a crystal ball. Nobody knows the future. We can only assess it based on what we see here. So I think that's a pretty good idea. The WXYXZ. And that's exactly kind of what happened with Bitcoin. And you know what? It's really, now that I think about it, Bitcoin did that same thing in the 4th wave. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we got 5. So XRP is dealing with this right in here, right now. So let's see if we could maybe put that underneath, and let's put XRP. Actually, let's put XRP on top. There we go, and let's remove all of that. There we go. And let's zoom in. Okay, well, actually, let's zoom out first. There we go. Actually, I don't really like that. Let's do it like this. There we go. Since we're dealing with impulses. Okay, so you can see right here, 1, 2. We got 1, 2. And then we came up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is why Elliott wave works, right? When you're trending, but when you're ranging, it's a lot more difficult. And then what happened was we flagged out in here for a long time. So I think that's what's happening now. This is just this right here. And I really like this idea. All right. Now, if we zoom in on this, you can see you got a little bit of a... So actually, I'm going to remove the wicks, and I'm going to see if they look at that. Look how similar that looks, right? When you remove all the noise, things start to be a little bit more clear. So if you notice, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We were flagging out. Basically, we had 7 different waves. Okay, well, let's see if we have the same here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and maybe we get 7. So I'm assuming that this wave here could be this wave here. I don't, under this situation, you can see we ever so slightly took the low, right? So we had a little bit of, do we have any divergence here? Obviously, yeah, we did. We had divergence. So if this comes down and then we have ever so slightly, that could be about $1.90 again. So anyways, I really like that. I don't know about you guys, but I think it looks pretty damn good. I mean, just measuring it based on the flag here, I really like it. So let's take a look here. Okay, so now we'll use we have our W, X, Y, X, and then Z. And then over here we have W. See, I'm not sure if this could be X, Y, X, Z. No, it has to be X, Y, X, and then Z. So there you go. Look at that. Interesting. And then we can add our channels in here because they were both pretty much kind of like a parallel channel. And we could do the same thing over here. Parallel channel. There we go. So now they're starting to look, a little bit more, a lot more similar, right? And here's the cool part about it. They were both in the fourth waves, right? They both are fourth waves. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, and then Bitcoin came up and got 5. Look at XRP. 1, 2, 3, 4. Same thing. Let's go up and get 5. So that's why when, if we're expecting another high, it's not so crazy. People, oh, the bear market's here. The bull market is over. First of all, we never had a bull market. The bull market never existed because in order for a bull market to take place, you really should be in price discovery, and we haven't been in price discovery. The only coin that was in a bull run was Bitcoin. This is a bull run, right? So, you could say, oh, it's a miniature bull run. Well, whatever, but it's not really a complete bull run because of the rest of the market didn't participate, right? If you look at other coins like, THETA, does that look like a bull market? No. Where was the bull market at? There was no bull market for THETA. We haven't been in a bull market yet. So anyways, yeah, I think that's definitely screenshot worthy. So yeah, let's see how this week plays out, and we'll keep tracking this new count here because I think it really looks good. I mean, again, we had an impulse to the upside, and now we're sort of oscillating to the downside. That's important. Instead of capitulation and just complete a straight line down, like, for example, THETA, you could see, right? Complete annihilation. You could see right now, let's see, let's turn the wicks back on here. What's going on with THETA? It looks like we're starting to break even further down a little bit there, not so much. So yeah, when we compare that to, actually, let me get back on the screen. I mean, you could see the difference here, right? Major difference. Major difference. So, if we have 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we get 4, and then we get 5, at the same time, that's when XRP gets wave Z. Then there's confluence because THETA still has a lot of upside potential because of this three-wave move. You got a beautiful three-wave move here. You got 5 waves almost complete. So we should expect a retrace, right? Remember in the beginning of the video, right? You take the wave. So here's our wave right here. You cut it in half. That's about $1.60. We should go back in a retrace at some point. Most likely not until it finishes. But if this wave finishes at the same time this finishes, then we could break out in XRP. At the same time XRP is breaking out in its 5th wave, just like what Bitcoin did. That's when Theta goes back into its retrace. And that's what I've been thinking. That's what I think is most likely going to play out. So, but not just Theta. I mean, you can look at like even SHIB as well. I mean, it looks basically the same. So once this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is finished, create a little bit of a base, work your way back up in the retrace. That at that moment, that's when XRP should be going in its 5th wave. So there's a lot of bearishness out there, but you know, there's also a lot of money on the sidelines too, right? So people are, all the money that was erased from the stock market didn't just disappear, right? Money does not disappear. Money changes forms. It does not just disappear, right? So, yeah, I think once we have a real switch, a real like a switch back to the upside, just like we had over here, right? So don't think for a second that it's not coming, because it will. It is gonna come, right? You got a lot of support down here. So this again, we could have one more wave down, but whatever. If we have another wave down, it makes it even more likely that the bottom is in. Because that's what we want to see. We want to see a retracement. Let's get a retrace. And then once we get there, then we can examine how this wave went up, and then we can get indicators. Maybe this is kind of flagging out in here, right? You had 3 waves up, you get 3 waves down, and then you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up. I mean, that could be very well in the future. And then you look at something like NEAR, right? It had its retrace, so or basically this looks like an impulse to me, right? And then we have a 3-way pullback here. So it looks primed. It looks bullish, maybe one more wave down, but I think we're going to get back to the top here. If we could get back to the top of this range, of these 2 highs, right? We got 1, we got 2. If we can get 3, and then we can flag out up here and then break out, I think that's definitely in the play. But again, you have the tariffs, you have people fudding all over with the fake news. They're really trying to get people on the short side. So they want people to panic. They want people to sell. They want people, So anytime that's the case, then it's often a trap. They're getting led into a slaughterhouse. Because it's all technicals. Look, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves. So if this is 6 and 7, then that's a 7-wave. Then it's for sure got to be done, because that's a 7-wave crashing structure. Then you get 5 up, and then you flag out, and then you get your way back up here, and you develop that base down there. That's what I think's playing out. I'm pretty sure that's what's playing here. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a 7-wave crashing structure. So kind of like a crashing structure is like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have 6 that rolls back up into wave 4 within wave 5, and then you go down and set wave 7. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's a 7-wave crashing structure as an example. Then you would want a little bit of a base, but you want an impulse, and then you want to flag out, and then you want to continue higher. That's exactly what happens all the time. I mean, a lot of the times that's what plays out. So I don't see a bearish chart. I see a setup in the works, right? So the reason why everything feels bearish is because we've been going down, 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 down. And when you go down for 5 waves, that's the psychological number, because Elliott wave is based on 3s and 5s. And when, so for example, you get a wave up, people get bullish, but they missed it, right? So then you get a pullback, and then they buy it, and then it goes up for the 3rd wave, and then everybody else is now really bullish. They get in, but then you pull back, and that was it. That was 3 waves, right? But sometimes it could turn into 4 and to 5. And then once you have that 5th wave, now everybody's screaming and hollering that it's going to go higher. Just like we have 5 waves to the downside, everyone's telling you that it's going to go lower, right? There's a lot of people out there saying it's going to go lower. And I think we will go lower, but I don't think there's much left. I think we're right at the end of this, unless the stock market has a very significant dump, Bitcoin falls below its backtest level, and XRP breaks below the range, right? Which I think, again, it's definitely a possibility where this range could be broken to the downside, because I don't even look at it as a range. I think this right here is a distraction. This right here is a distraction. If we just look at the flag, you can see it's more meaningful, right? But when you incorporate this, then people look, you can see there's a lot of support here. But the more times you bounce on support, bounce on support, bounce on support, you're weakening the structure, right? If I take my fist and I hit the wall repeatedly with a hammer or whatever, eventually that wall is going to give. Just like with the price, the more the price bounces and bounces and bounces, the weaker it becomes. So if we start to see volatility slow down and we start to kind of go sideways like this, then it's probably going to do that. You're probably going to have a big dump to the downside. So again, it could be W, X, Y, X, or actually W, X, Y, X, and Z. So anything else? Litecoin, yeah, Litecoin looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, and it looks like we're getting 5. So I think we're almost there. XLM, you got 3, you got 3, and you got 3. You got 3, maybe you get one more 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, you got 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like you need 5. Everything looks like you need one more wave down. Let's throw on some moving averages here. So I think we're at the 200-day. Or no, so we just had, everyone's talking about the death cross, right? In Bitcoin. Okay, so the thing about the death cross is that,